Hey guys, Bigbod Aquatics here, and welcome to my first video on the channel. So just as a little introduction, I am going to be documenting on this channel the growth of my fish, the growth of myself in this personal hobby, and my 600-gallon plywood aquarium build, which is going to be ongoing, and I'm very excited for that. But this video, I'm just basically going to introduce myself, introduce you to my animals. So to begin with myself, I'm a 17-year-old from Canada. I've been keeping fish since I was around 3 years old, got my first tank at 3. I've been doing water changes by myself since I was around 5 years old, so I've been doing this for a long time. I've also been employed by a pet store for about 2 years now, exclusively in the fish department, so I picked up a lot of extra knowledge there, and obviously to get hired in the first place, I had to know my stuff. So if anybody has any questions or anything regarding anything I do on the channel or any problems you are having with your tank at home, I will be 100% happy to answer them. So one of the things I said I was going to outline was my 600-gallon plywood aquarium build, which I am absolutely stoked for. Never had a tank that big, always wanted a tank that big. It is going to be 48 inches long by 48 inches wide by 36 inches tall, so it's a big tank, and I am absolutely stoked. As for my current tanks and animals, I have a 33-gallon long tank that I use as a grow out and a planted aquarium. So right now in there I have an Asian Arowana for a reason I'll explain when I introduce you my fish, which it's not the ideal situation, but it's what's happening right now, unfortunately. As you know, sometimes you got to do some stuff that isn't preferred, but it's got to happen in this hobby. That's how it goes. I also have an Indian Shovelnose catfish in that tank, sitting at about 5 inches. He's a unique fish because he came to me in an interesting way, and they're also very rare fish to find in the hobby. So I will explain more on that when I introduce you to the fish as well. I also have about a 5-inch Indonesian Datnoid in that tank. I picked him up for my work because he wasn't that great when he came in. I kind of wanted to spruce him up a little bit, and I did. And he's going to be going in the 600-gallon as well. All these fish in these tanks right now will be going in the 600-gallon. So for now, before you say, oh, the tank's too small, they're just grow outs and holding tanks, so they are not going to be staying there for their entire lives. And if for some reason this build falls through, I will absolutely not keep them, and I will rehome them because that is a responsible thing to do. For the other tank I have set up, I have a 55-gallon plastic tote with a 10-inch walking catfish in there and about a 16-inch Alligator Gar. Same thing, I'm just holding them. They've come from various backgrounds, most of them rough, some of them not so rough. I just want to give them a better home, but nonetheless, they're there. Most of the people I got the fish from were unable to care for them or not suited to care for them, just because when they bought them they didn't know their requirements or whatever it may have been. Aquarium was too small, and although now I am holding them in larger aquariums than what they were in before, it is still too small, and I acknowledge that, but they are going to be going in the 600-gallon, and it is a significant improvement from their previous home. So enough of my talking, I will introduce you to the fish. I apologize to everybody watching. I just forgot that I did not record in portrait for that entire introduction, so that might piss some people off, but from now on it'll be in portrait. That's where it all happens. This is my room slash fish room. Not too much, but this is the 55-gallon tote, and I'm not gonna lie, some of this stuff is pretty janky, but it's only temporary and it does its job. The budgeting I was talking about on the channel, which basically just means I do a lot of ghetto aquarium shit. So if we look in here, so in here I will introduce you to the first two residents. I think you may have just saw one in that clip. That is my walking catfish that you just saw move across the screen. I picked him up from somebody recently. He was in a 30-gallon, and I told the guy that he was going to be going in a 600-gallon because he is. But for now, he's just in here so I can hold him, and so nobody else got a hold of him before I could. Also cozied up right next to him is my Alligator Gar. He's a big boy. I call him Brutus. He eats feeders, frozen anchovies, sardines, rats, anything you give to him. All these fish eat like beasts. My 33-gallon grow out right here. So the residents of this tank include a Leopard Ctenopoma. I got him quite a while ago now, probably about 5 months ago. Pike Killifish, or live-bearing pike as some call it. Also had her for quite a while now. This is my Banjar Red Asian Arowana. And normally I wouldn't want to keep him in this aquarium, but he seems like he is doing perfectly fine. The second reason is he sustained some damage to his pectoral fin, scales, and tail fin because of the walking catfish was quite aggressive with him. He was in that 55-gallon tote with Brutus, the alligator gar, originally. This is my Indonesian Datnoid. He's got beautiful colors on him. Not as aggressive, so probably a female. Up around 50 bucks at my work. His colors were bad. He wasn't happy. He looked like he may have had some bacterial going on when I found him. So I picked him up, fixed him up, and here he is. I also have here a Royal Pleco. I picked him up trading some orange laser Cory cats for him because I didn't want them to get eaten in this tank, as there was some fish that were getting large enough in here to eat them at the time, and they're expensive fish to use as feeders. Track Eel, who resides in those outtake tubes. There's plenty of rock structure, there's driftwood, and there is plenty of plants, at least an inch on the sand bed, which may be a bit shallow for them, but in some places it's deeper, and he would be able to burrow, but he decides to live in there. The last one I would like to introduce is my Indian shovelnose catfish. He's kind of hidden right now, but I will include some other footage directly after this in final. In terms of plants in this tank, it's pretty loaded. There's a variety of species, including duckweed, salvinia, liminifolia, giant pennywort, Brazilian pennywort, Elodian nahas, jungle val, microswords, stargrass, nymphoides Taiwan, onion plant. The list goes on. That's not even all of them. But it's a pretty biodiverse tank, and I'm proud of how it's doing. Thank you all for watching the video. In later videos, I'm hoping there won't be as many mistakes. Production value may be a little higher as I improve my equipment and whatnot, and as the plywood build goes on. So thanks everybody for watching. See you next time.